Hello, I wasn't expecting to be doing this again, especially not so soon. I had an email last night from somebody who's ordered the Millennium frame and they're thinking about the stand, but it's a big investment and there were some questions they had about it, and I thought the easiest way was to do another video clip. I don't think it's going to be as easy as yesterday because obviously the frame is bigger and a bit more complicated to show. I have one problem, I don't have anybody to move the camera, so I've propped my iPad up against an ornament and I'm going to have to move to bring things in and out of view for you. But when I bought my Millennium frame, I was intending to use it with my Lowry stand because I love my Lowry stand. I always considered it one of my best buys, but I very quickly realised that the frame just would not work, and it wouldn't work because this was round. I could put my clamp on and it would be okay for a few minutes, but then as I started to work, this was loosening on the clamp and it was no good whatsoever. So I quickly ordered the needle needs stand, and I think it took about 4 or 5 weeks to come. There's always a great demand for them. It came, it was all pieces of wood that it came. It was very easy to put together. The only thing you need is this little tool here, which is just a normal Allen key. It lives in a little leather loop, not to lose it, and basically it came with these 2 bottom bits, which you then had to place this bar on, and you tighten the 2 screws there and the 2 screws there. The next thing was you had to attach this structure, which was just 2 screws there, and then you had to put this centre bar in, and as you can see this bar moves up and down and it is clamped here so that you can alter the height that this whole structure is at, and that's really important. Because if you have this at the wrong height for the chair you're working at, all the angles are wrong. And what's really important is that you don't alter your posture for the frame, you alter the frame for your posture, because you have to be comfortable when you're sewing. We sew for long periods of time, and we don't want backache, we don't want arm ache, wrist ache, shoulder ache or neck ache. I got a friend to adjust this whilst I was sat in my sewing chair so that it was the right height for me. And if you've got somebody that will do that for you, I think that is a good tip. The next thing you had to put together was these 2 arms clamped either side of there with this screw, and then you had to screw this piece onto these, which were these 2 screws here. And then you put your side arms on. Now the side arms that come with the stand are shorter than this, and these are for the smaller sidebars, but I bought all the sidebars in the 3 different sizes, and I bought the extra long arms to go with it, thinking that I would change them over to suit what size frame I was working on. But I realised very quickly I didn't need to do that. If I had the big ones on, that was absolutely fine. They suited every size. Now if I put the smaller sidebars on, you'll see I've got this gap, but that doesn't affect the way I'm working. If I put my next size up, you see this gap is getting shorter, but again, it doesn't affect the way I'm working. Now I had a look this morning for my really long sidebars, and I've obviously put them too safe because I can't lay my hands on them, but I did find lots of stash I'd forgotten I had. I never need to buy linen again. Right, so you've got your bars on, you can adjust them here, so you can have them in the position that you want, and then you can tighten them off. I tend not to have them too tight. I tend to have them so I can still move them, but they're not swinging. And then, this is like an exercise machine for me. I use my feet to bring it in and out. I do this with it, and then the other thing I do, I use my foot to put that in. Don't need to go to the gym. Right, talking about these notches, it's all about angles. If you have it in the top notch, it makes this flatter, so it's more like a tabletop to work on. It doesn't suit me because I find I'm bending over too much, but it could suit somebody else. And it obviously does, otherwise they wouldn't have it on the stand. The next one, the bottom one, makes this very steep, and I don't think it's a good idea to work with this so steep because your wrists are at a poor angle. I think that with the amount of stitching that we all do, if you have your wrists at an awkward angle, you're going to get repetitive strain injury very, very easily with all this bending. I put mine on the middle one. I find that angle works really, really well for me. I pop my frame on the stand. I bring it towards me. Now, some people might like to work like that. I like to work, and this is just one of my things. There's no reason behind it. I like to put my arms there. I then have my right arm on my leg, so I'm not holding it up all night, and I'm just using my wrist. I tend to put my left arm on the top. I have my pattern here, and then I just pass my needle back and forth. If I want to access the back of my work, think about the Lowry stand. You would release your clamp, and then you would turn your piece of work over, and that's what you do here. You just flip it over. It's as easy as that. Oh, and by the way, I haven't got my frame tightened in case you noticed there was a lot of tension there. There we are. I can play the drums now. It works equally as well with the smaller size. And you can just flip it back and forth to change your work. Like if you went like that, that's quite cumbersome, but you don't do that with any of your frames. You literally just flip it over. You can hang your floss away bags there. There's a little groove cut out in this bit so you could actually put your chart. I tend to work with my chart here. It's nice and firm that it's supported. I have my daylight lamp there, so there's no shadow over my work. I use the tray of my daylight lamp to prop my iPad up so I can watch emails coming in and out, or I listen to my iBook that way. That's the stand. I hope I've answered everybody's queries. If I haven't, and you've got anything else that you would like to ask, just give me an email and I'll try my best to help. Okay, bye-bye.